Many renters notice that rent increases tend to show up around the same time each year. Even without moving, changing jobs, or upgrading apartments, monthly rent suddenly rises, and it often happens in spring or early summer. In this video, you'll understand why rent increases tend to show up this time of year, how rental pricing is actually set, and why timing, not sudden demand, is usually the reason these increases feel predictable but unavoidable. Rent is one of the largest and least flexible household expenses. Because it's paid monthly and adjusted infrequently, even modest increases feel significant. Spring is when many renters become aware of changes, not because something new has happened, but because lease cycles, pricing systems, and housing demand begin to align. First, it's important to understand that rent pricing follows lease cycles, not calendar years. Many leases are signed, renewed, or renegotiated during spring and early summer. When those leases renew, updated pricing becomes visible all at once across large numbers of households. Next, rental markets prepare for peak demand ahead of time. Spring marks the beginning of the busiest moving season. Landlords and property managers adjust pricing in anticipation of higher turnover, even if current tenants aren't moving. Now that we understand that, there's another structural factor. Property costs reset annually. Taxes, insurance, maintenance contracts, and financing costs often update early in the year. These higher operating costs are reflected in rent when leases renew, not when the costs first appear. This leads us to an important distinction. Rent increases aren't usually reactions to a sudden change. They're delayed reflections of cost adjustments that happened earlier. Next, it's important to understand how new construction affects pricing. New apartments entering the market are typically priced at the higher end of the local range because they must cover current construction and financing costs. These new prices establish benchmarks that influence renewals across older properties as well. Now that we understand that, the timing makes sense. Spring is when leases turn over, benchmarks are visible, and pricing adjustments finally reach households. Rent increases show up this time of year because lease renewals cluster in spring and early summer. Landlords price ahead of peak moving season. Operating costs reset earlier and surface later. New market benchmarks influence existing rents. Rent adjusts in steps, not continuously. The increase feels sudden, but it reflects months of prior cost changes and market preparation. Experiencing a rent increase doesn't mean you missed something or made a poor decision. It reflects how housing systems distribute costs over time and apply them when contracts allow. Understanding the timing helps explain why rent pressure feels seasonal, even when the underlying causes are structural. Please like and subscribe if you have enjoyed this video. Your likes truly inspire us to create helpful content. Thank you once again for watching. We hope you have a blessed day.